Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm Jeff Dover. With me is John Barban. Let's talk football.
Yeah, we are going to talk about the biggest train wreck in the NFL right now, which is the Dallas Cowboys.
Which is
And
really saying something because there's a few train wrecks in the league, but man, is it hard to get past Dallas and what's been happening, especially after this last week.
yeah, current train wreck. Maybe someone will take the number one spot up from them at some point in the season, but right now, after what is that, week 6, they are the biggest train wreck in the league. And starting with Jerry Jones, I mean, he's got to go, but he's never gonna go because he owns it. At least he's got to go as the GM. Like this concept go ahead.
No, you're right. He's one of the best owners of all time historically, but for everyone, time is undefeated, and it feels like his time is coming to an end. And it's what'd you think about his reaction with the radio show?
Oh, I don't know. What did he say? I
It was ridiculous.
listening.
So it got controversial with some local Dallas radio show that he did, where he said that he's like, these are bad questions or something. I'm paraphrasing. He's like, these questions are ridiculous, and he's like, if you guys can't ask the right questions, maybe I'll put someone in there that can. So sort of kind of threatening their jobs in an indirect way. But it's just it's clear that he's really frustrated, like this, as every Dallas fan would be right now, because the roster's not terrible.
That reaction is the exact reason you can't win with the owner calling all the shots as the GM, because everyone under him will be a yes man.
Yes,
they're never going to challenge. No GM is going to push back saying you're actually looking at this wrong. If he had a GM, right. No coach is going to say, no, we got to change how we're going to draft. He thinks he knows, but he doesn't. Mm-hmm. Like signing Dak was a disaster. Bringing Elliott back, what are you doing? Like, you don't have a real starting running back. He did nothing in the offseason. This idea that they're all in and they just dumped a bunch of money on Prescott and Lamb, that's their idea of improving the roster. Clearly, they don't have enough depth. Mm-hmm. They're missing a couple of pieces, and their team's a joke. Missing. Mm-hmm. Now, I get every team has injuries, so Dallas fans like, oh, we're missing this guy and this guy. We'd be great. Every team's missing guys at this point. Yeah, now, I get it. Parsons is out and Lawrence is out. Those two guys don't play offense. What's the excuse for only scoring 9 points? You've got two guys on your two highest paid players, one of them the highest in the league, CeeDee Lamb and Dak. Their combined contracts, $376 million, and the two of them generated 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions?
Yeah, well, so, Dak Prescott in 6 games has 8 TDs and 6 interceptions. So
not going to win anything like that.
No. He's been sacked 16 times, which also doesn't help because that's over 2 a game, almost 3 a game.
The thing is, this is his 9th year.
Good question.
He's just the same thing. Nothing's going to change. He's going to throw the back-breaking interception that ruins the game, and especially against good teams. Mm-hmm. And I get it. Lots of QBs obviously have a better record against weaker teams or under 500 teams. Lots of people say that. But he blows it against teams in critical times, and especially in the playoffs. So, I mean, Dallas fans, I can't imagine Dallas fans actually think this is the answer. And when they signed him to this enormous extension, Dallas fans must have thought, awesome, we're going to win the Super Bowl in the next 4 years because we retained Dak. Are you joking?
Yeah. It's his eighth season. Is that what you said?
Whatever it is, 8, 9. You think he's going to be different now? Mm-hmm. He's just going to get crushed in the playoffs as usual. And this team has an unbelievable ability to get their doors blown off. Mm-hmm. No other team in the league can throw in a stinker like this at home the way the Cowboys do.
Yeah, that was crazy too at home. I was really struck by that because
they get crushed at home on a routine basis and in the playoffs. Like look what the Packers did to them. Like the fans pay to watch their team just get steamrolled at home.
And one of the hard things too, which makes this like why it feels like it's such a disaster, is that no aspect is working well, right? So the offense isn't very good. And the defense is really bad. They've given up so many points, way more than they're usually known for their defense. Then again, the Dallas fan might point out that they've had a lot of injuries, but a lot of people have had injuries. We were just talking the other day how KC went to their 3rd string quarterback, like in one of the games that they had.
KC's 3rd string quarterback?
Cornerback.
Corner. Oh, yes. Corner. Yes. Yeah.
So it's so like a lot of people have injuries, but they have a really bad point differential, and they're 0-3 at home. like
Buffalo has lost its best lineman, linebacker, and
yeah,
DB, and
yeah.
they're still chugging along.
So that if the offense and defense are bad, there's no quick fix. Like there's no one area that you can just like have a trade or something and make a difference. And the other thing that's going to be really rough for this team is the remaining schedule doesn't look good, especially in the immediate schedule. So they've got at the 49ers, at the Falcons, they host the Eagles, host the Texans, at the Commanders. All those games they can lose. Like they could easily go 1-5 in those games. So they've got a tough stretch coming up, and no easy way of fixing what's wrong because there's so many things that are wrong.
Well, what's wrong starts at the very, very top.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones and acting as the GM and the owner, where you just can't step out of line because he writes your checks, so you just do as you're told. Mm-hmm. And I know that's been a criticism of this team for a long time, but for rightfully so. Like, look what it's doing. So he dumps a bunch of money on Prescott. Doesn't change anything. He's just still who he is. Like I said, the two highest paid players are on the field, got no touchdowns. The defense can't stop the run now or the pass. The offense can't run, and Prescott's good for at least an interception a game, it looks like.
Yeah.
And an awful one. It's not like it bounces off someone's helmet. He just throws it right in between the numbers of a defensive player. And McCarthy looks like he's just collecting a paycheck at this point. Like, I again, with no knowledge, just going off of how things seem from media appearances, would you rather have Dan Campbell or McCarthy on the sideline?
Goodness.
Just
not
from
even a question. You know
what I mean? And now I get it. McCarthy has a Super Bowl and all that stuff, but he just doesn't look like he cares, or maybe he's just given up under Jones, knowing I can't look at the roster he gave me. I can't do anything with this. And then another ridiculous thing about this organization in general, that stupid stadium is designed for afternoon light to be down the field and not. Who designed this thing? You obviously know when you build the thing where the sun sets, and they build it in a way where those windows cast light straight down the field instead of across. So at least when you look back for the ball, you're not getting direct sun.
Or trying to look down the field, trying to throw it to someone.
Both cases. How stupid is that? Just turn it 90. Just turn it 90 degrees so it's not the sun never goes straight down the field. Like that to me, actually, when they showed that, and there was, I guess, an interception, could have been because the sun was in the guy's eyes. I thought that's just a microcosm of how dysfunctional this organization is. They even built a stadium that can get in their own way.
That's a good point.
How stupid is that?
No, it's ridiculous. I remember my favorite stadium point for that place was that and this was a few years ago, but the budget to run that giant screen was the same as the entire team budget for like the 1977 team that like won the Super Bowl or something like that. And that's just the TV budget now.
I mean, Jones is a good businessman. He knows how to make money. He does not know how to put a winning football team on the field.
Yeah. Historically, one of the better owners like ever, but that there's a difference between being a really good owner and a GM.
I think what worked out worse for this will be my last point on the disaster of this team from top to bottom. What ended up being potentially the worst thing that could have happened is he won right away.
Yeah.
He won a bunch of Super Bowls right out of the gates. So he's forever going to have this sense. I know how to win Super Bowls. I've done it. You haven't. And he's got their top, 3, 4 most Super Bowls. And under his watch, they won 3 or 4 right away. So now he obviously had the best team, best offense, best defense, best everything. So he remembers. He's like, no. I build Super Bowl winning rosters. I know how to do this. But that was decades and decades and decades ago. Now they can't even get to the champion. They can't even win a playoff game. It's so bad.
Yeah, no, but it's a really rough, and like we said, there's no, because it's so dysfunctional, because the roster is so fractured, and between the contracts and the injuries, there's no easy way out of this thing. Like at least for the Jets, people are saying like, oh, if they get Devontae Adams, like maybe that could really change everything. Like no one trade would affect this team right now.
No, it's Jones. He's either has to willingly step out of being the GM, or until he's just not a part of this is what you're going to get. Anyways, too bad for the Cowboys fans. This team, this is I think the most wealthy sports franchise in the entire world, including all soccer, all everything. This team should be better. The NFL's fun when they're the sort of the evil empire, right? Like it's fun when they're good. And it's just, I mean, it's enough already. I know everyone who doesn't like Dallas is relishing in them getting crushed, but at some point, it's better when that star is on a helmet later in the playoffs. It's just fun when they're competitive, and this team just can't do anything right now. Anyways, Cowboy fans deserve better, and they aren't getting it, and I think it's Jerry Jones' fault.